What is the news? No two people will give the same answer as to what news actually is. However, Harrington argues in his Week 4 lecture that the news helps keep citizens informed about democratic institutions like Parliament, the courts, and information on events that affect society. The news ultimately provides us with a model of information to help us make informed choices about the direction of public life. With this in mind, someone argued that everybody knows that journalism is not what it used to be. I believe that this statement is false, and will argue that this perspective is the condition of a moral panic and requires more principled analysis. This topic can be thoroughly addressed by first making evident the changes in news consumption and news production in recent times. Old news such as reading the paper or sitting through a midday report was once considered by older generations to be the principal way that news must be consumed. Now that numbers of youths engaging with these mediums is declining, Mindich argues that this creates a decline of politics and fears for society because it appears that youths are not being informed. Or to quote Sternberg, this is a generation that rejects news. I believe that this is incorrect because younger generations are finding alternative outlets to stay informed and even contribute to the news stratosphere in ways never thought possible. Harrington supports this by stating in his Week 5 lecture that the news has become a fifth estate to society and younger people are showing greater interest to experiment with news formats and styles, ultimately pushing the boundaries in all directions. Shows like The Chase Has Worn Everything highlight news stories in a more satire and entertaining approach, and these can draw audiences of up to 2.24 million viewers. Even though Frisch states that entertainment is often seen as being a subjective, fictional, and escapist, it is evident that when combined with news events, it can actually be more engaging and informative among younger viewers. This is also evident among current TV shows like the 7pm Project and Good News Week. If you look at the hierarchy of engagement, this is pushed even further with YouTube projects like Auto-Tune the News. This is where creative minds of this so-called uninformed society remix the news with music and keep the essential news focus accurate. Furthermore, the discussion melting pots like Twitter, Facebook, and news blogs also allow people to voice their opinions more openly over the net. This collective of opinion creates a diversity shift among people from different societies, backgrounds that can voice their opinions. When you look at the output of journalism, Harrington also states that in just under 20 years, the amount of accessibility to news resources from around the world has risen astronomically. With more access to news stories, it's become very hard to argue that there is an issue with the rate of news production and output. It is also highly important to understand that these changes in journalism are not just a strong narrative, not a strong narrative of decline, but just a change that will consequently add a third dimension to the way society engages with the news forever.